Omar.
Yeah, Sarah?
Hey, Omar, do you think you could quickly help me move this entire podcast brick by brick to another location real quick before we start?
If we can load it into like a truck and then keep the truck in the parking lot overnight, probably my boys and I could do it.
Okay, that would be really helpful. And you don't know about any ghosts or anything that are haunting this podcast that would want to prevent us from doing that, right?
Ghosts? No, nothing's ever happened in this podcast, except for the time that my dad was attacked, and 4 other times, which we'll get into in this episode of Riverdale Season 6, the podcast.
Woo! I'm Sarah Kaplan.
And I'm Omar Najam. And to be clear, I was playing the role of Archie Andrews. My dad has, as of this episode to date, has not been attacked in the podcast yet. I don't think, in
Your
character
actual
or
dad?
otherwise. My actual dad.
Yeah, that's good. Let's keep it that way. And I was playing the role of Tabitha Tate in that little scenelet. And I guess I should also clarify then for the listener, I'm not chronokinetic. So, but you know who might be chronokinetic? I say might because I don't know. Our guest this episode. She is someone you probably know from Off Book, the improvised musical podcast. You might know her from Dropout, or just touring all over the whole freaking world doing improv. It's Jess McKenna. Yeah.
Wow. What kind of train? It better not be the ghost train.
It better not be. Oh, not the ghost
Better
train.
not be the ghost train.
Oh, that
Not the ghost train.
would grant dominion over the souls of the living and the dead.
But then we won't be able to bear witness to the final battle.
And thank you so much, Jess, for playing the role of the ghosts.
Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, that was great. And thank you for speaking on behalf of the dead. I know that it was a really quick decision that you had to make of which
Happy
of
to.
the couple of you.
Happy
Yeah.
to.
You're the ghost that stepped up.
Yeah.
And we really appreciate
Speaking
that.
of stepping up, Jess, thank you so much for stepping up to the plate and taking a swing at this here podcast.
Wow. I mean, delighted for a reason to hang out and talk about, well, my jaw was on the floor, I think, for the entire 44 minutes of this episode. But I don't think I've ever seen, I mean, there must be 65 scenes in this episode. I've never experienced a show at this rate.
Yes, it's
So
fast.
for that, I thank you.
You've worked on scripted programming before.
I have, yes.
Have you ever seen a script that has a slug line, nothing under it, new slug line?
That's truly what I was imagining. I was picturing what the script coordinator has to do. It's so not to get all capital H Hollywood on it, but I was all I could think about, because I was just dropping in and I was I can't hope to understand. I'm gleaning for any context because I've never watched a single episode of Riverdale before.
Yeah.
And I think maybe I've only read one Archie comic, although I can't imagine that would help me much.
Probably not.
I was still just this, I can't understand how a show like this is made, in the literal sense.
Yeah.
How many scenes?
Yeah.
How many scenes are in this?
They
They say 4 lines and then they move. And time is a suggestion, and you know
what's wild? It's in order to save money, they actually cut this in iMovie. This is not an Avid production. It's not Final Cut. It's the freebie software.
Yeah, I think my 15-year-old niece could make stronger edits on TikTok than it's just. But I'm sure it's because then I was is this cheaper? Because I was okay, so I'm sorry, I really am diving in, but I was this is
no, that's fine. Listener,
feels
if you're sitting there and you're insulted and you're who is this Jess McKenna to come criticize the best season of television ever made, Riverdale Season 6? You should know that Jess is actually a Writers Guild of America award-winning television writer. So we should listen to what she has to say here, maybe.
That's
I'm
right.
not saying she's right to criticize the best season of television ever made, but she does at least know what she's talking about.
Thank you so much.
Have you ever
yes.
been in the WGA West Library, listener? Have you?
Have you?
The one
Have
on
you,
Fairfax?
listener? Have you? Yes. I mean, I should clarify. I had a great time, but I was when you go from 0 to 62 scenes, you're gonna have some G-force in your cheeks. That is how. You're so right. I was picturing scripts that are just like slug line, one line of dialogue, slug line, with no like bearing on day, night, continuous moments later, like just sort of like flying through.
Yes.
Is this how all Riverdale is from even from season 1? Because obviously any show that gets to season 6, you might have some newer, you might have had to be inventive, you know?
I think it starts hitting this pace in season 5.
Okay.
But it's definitely always been fast. But
there
you know
is
what's not been fast this episode, Omar?
Yeah. What's not been fast, Sarah?
Our introduction of our very trusty producer, Azriel. Hi,
oh my gosh, I jumped right on it.
Hello. It is I, Glinda Snide. I'm here to
Glinda
tell everyone
Snide, the ghost.
the ghost train and all the inner workings of this beautiful, beautiful show and this podcast. So I'm thrilled to be here for an episode of drastic proportion.
We're so happy to have you as always, Azzy.
Yeah, Jess, I know that you haven't really seen Riverdale before. You did read the one issue of Archie. Hopefully it was the Ghost Train issue. But in case you didn't, we do have a segment that runs the entire length of our show called Ask Azzy.
Great.
So if you have any questions, you can just toss them over to Azzy. She'll look it up or just answer from the memory banks or consult the spirits. So just know that you have that safety net.
So
if you
for
need
reference, Azzy has also not seen Riverdale seasons 1 through 5, but she has seen every episode thus far of season 6. So you could call her a lore expert. More importantly, she does conveniently have the Riverdale fandom page pulled up.
Great.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Yes. So I wanted to just we're going to kind of talk you through this episode, Jess, and get your thoughts on it.
Great.
But it's always fascinating to try to figure out what people think is going on. So could you provide us a last time on Riverdale?
Yeah,
what's been going on up to now?
Okay, great. So previously on Riverdale, evil Percival is determined to uproot Pops's Diner, important legacy tradition of Riverdale. But don't worry, his granddaughter Tabitha is on the case with the help of, well, this is not previously. Now I'm getting into what's happening. But he's been bad trying to build a ghost train going through Pops's Diner. Also, some other people got to keep custody of baby Anthony, even though they have a troubled past. But maybe they care enough about each other to make this family work. And And Betty is struggling to understand what her psychopath aura sensing abilities mean. Is it just past trauma, or can it prevent future hurts? Also, someone owns a casino, and May December's own Charles Melton, right? That's his name.
That's right. Academy Award winning.
He continues to bribe her about that time he saw her do something bad to her dad. But Jughead has been having fun with mind reading. If only he could read his own mind and get past his writer's block.
Oh.
And so, if that wasn't enough, other family feuds run deep. Archie struggles to keep Anderson Construction and Building afloat as a reliable union job, even though his uncle Frank seeks to destroy its legacy with scab work.
Did you expect this show to be so viscerally pro-union?
I wrote it down. I made very few notes, and one of them was pro-union. I mean, I did enjoy it, obviously. And I loved the pipe they had to lay of like, oh, sorry, also, someone inherits a large building she wants to turn into a library, perhaps of the arcane. Will her friend from neighboring Greendale help her?
These are the questions that are being asked as we enter episode 15. Thank you so much, Jess. You got everything 100% correct.
Yes.
This is the most coherent synopsis we've ever kicked off an episode with. Can't thank you enough.
Really well done.
Thank
It's like you're a master of weaving together disparate narrative threads.
How would you, as you have sort of like coalesced all the storylines into, you know, kicking off this episode for us, do you mind if I ask just like a silly, kind of a, maybe shallow or like kind of just like a, I don't know, surface level question, but
Yeah,
like,
please.
how do you think that the relationship between the fissured off pocket universe of Riverdale is kind of affecting these characters?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that like we continue to see the imprint of Rivervale
Yes,
on the
that's a great
actions of Riverdale.
Correct.
Correct.
That's right. You're good. You got it. You're batting 1,000 right now. Yeah. So I have a question for you, Jess. Just
Yeah.
we like to do some questions up top to help the listeners and us get to know you better. I'm going to put you in a scenario.
Okay.
Your dad was a notorious serial killer, but he's been dead for a while now.
Right. Okay.
You work for the
Mhm,
FBI as a
mhm.
serial killer hunter, just for sake of argument. in
Wait,
this
sorry.
scenario.
Can I clarify one thing?
Yes.
Did I for years
Mhm.
eat dinner over a buried body?
Yes, you did. You
Okay,
did. That's
great.
exactly right.
Great.
Yeah, apple pie over an unmarked grave, you might
Yeah.
say.
Okay, great. Just trying to
Yeah.
put myself there.
Uh-huh.
Okay, great. Hmm.
Just like, how do you feel about that? Like, what's your reaction to this situation?
Do you know, like, I think for me, I'm spending a lot of energy trying to heal past wounds, understand how that led me to be the person I am today. But I'm also trying to like use those negative things in my family's past to prevent further
Mm.
harm. And so
Mhm.
I'm
Mhm.
really gonna keep an eye on my creepy twin niece and nephew. I'm really like, yes, there's
Mhm.
my story, but there's also like the next generation, you know, like as I come into
Aw,
adulthood,
that's so
I'm looking to
true.
like protect the younger members of my family from like what
Yeah.
might be inherited. And then also, honestly, I'm looking in the mirror and I'm thinking,
Yeah.
hey, maybe me doth protest too much. Maybe me put
Mhm.
an aura on maybe I'm putting auras on others when I need to be seeing the aura in myself.
Wow. Yeah.
And you know,
Yes.
Let
like-
he who doesn't have an aura see the first aura.
that's
Cast
right.
the first. Yeah,
That's right.
exactly.
That's right. Because I think what I'm really entering into is like a fundamental question about like destiny and fate. And are we doomed to be
Mhm.
dragged by it? Or can we still like make our own choices? So if I'm so quick to judge anybody with an aura as being inherently evil, rather than just having a propensity for evil, I need to
Thank
understand it about
you.
myself.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I
Would you
I
say
think
that
that's
like,
great.
in this headspace, when you're in this headspace, would you say that you are good or bad at picking up obvious come-ons from fellow FBI agents who might specialize in the supernatural?
Oh, I think I'm bad at that. I think
Yeah.
I think I can have some very peaceful non-romantic sleep next to my forcefully dyed red-haired boyfriend, and yet I will
Mhm.
completely miss that I have maybe 10 times more sexual tension with a coworker.
For
Mhm.
sure. For sure. Okay.
Mhm.
That's good. Well, thank you so much. Now we can really start talking about the episode now that we know you a
Yeah,
little
that
bit
was just
better.
about me. That was just sort of my deal.
Yeah.
That was a great little profile check we wanted to do.
Yeah.
So
Just because,
thank
like,
you.
thank you. And honestly, I appreciate any opportunity to like have your listeners get to know me better, you know.
Yes.
And so,
yes.
yeah, no, thank you for giving me that time.
You're so welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah. I've got a scenario for you. This is actually a reference to the episode itself.
Okay,
Okay.
different than what we just did. Okay, let me
Yeah,
shake that
different
one
from
up.
what we just did. Yeah. Let's say you're like a 6'1", 6'2", 235-pound and vulnerable former Army hero turned boxer / ROTC leader at the local high school.
Folk hero. Mhm.
Okay,
And folk
great.
hero.
Okay, great.
And you've been
Mhm.
dating this girl on and off since you were a teenager, and she just discovered the rotting corpse of a police officer underneath the dining table in her house, and she comes to you and says, I don't want to live in that house anymore. Can I move in with you for a bit? Do you think she's like moving too fast?
Wow. Okay, wait. Let me just think about. Okay, so the town loves me. The town loves me. Cult hero. Okay.
Mhm.
So strong. Gosh, I'm so strong. I'm so strong.
Very
Yeah.
strong.
Get in character. Get in
Um,
character.
How
Yeah.
does she feel?
Impenetrable.
How does she feel about? Yes. Wait. I'm impenetrable. Once more. Once more. How does she like feel about my dog? Is she going on walks with it, or sort of like
Dude,
breezing past?
she's so pro bingo.
Okay, then yeah, I think
bingo.
honestly, like I know it's always dangerous in romantic relationships to like go to cohabitation out of just ease or like a practical reason rather than really facing like with the emotional implications. But I think in this case, like I really have to be a safe harbor for this person I care a lot about, you know, and I'll just make sure that we do not touch in bed.
Yeah, that's the right answer. That's the right answer. Congratulations, you're like 5 for 5 on this podcast so far.
Thank you so much. I do always hope to do recap podcasts correctly.
Yes, that's well, good. That's why we had you on, because you care.
Yep.
So yes, thank you, listener. If you haven't seen this episode, what we've been describing here is the relationship between one Archie Andrews and his eternal paramour, Betty Cooper. Yes, but that's not all Archie's got going on this episode, because his good friend Tabitha Tate is going to come to him with a mighty funky request. Move the entire Pop's Diner brick by brick to a different location so that Percival Pickens, the town's mayor, can't build a railroad through it? And obviously Archie says yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a. Would you say that like a location itself is ontologically the thing, or that if you were to take down every decoration and rebuild it elsewhere, you know, a sort of Theseus situation that like you are really like transporting the soul of that place?
Right. I mean, I would say, well, can I turn the tables for a second?
Please.
Can I put the rest of you in a situation?
I would love to. Yeah. Oh, yeah, we would love that.
Okay. So you take everything, the years of memorabilia. This is a beloved diner. It's not pretentious. It's homey. There's bric-a-brac from decades, things you've inherited, things you've been gifted by patrons, stories that you might not even remember, and yet that thing on the wall is still significant. You move the booths, you move the jukebox, not without struggle, but you move it. You reconfigure it in exactly the same layout. And then can I ask you, in that moment, when it comes time to choose a paint company to help paint the walls so that this Pops can truly be the Pops it once was, what paint company do you think could keep the soul of Pops intact?
Well, that's a really good question. Let's see. I don't know. I mean, I know if I were designing a website, if I ran a casino, I would use Canva.
Yeah.
And I know that my go-to snack would be white cheddar popcorn by Smart Food.
Yeah.
And if you had to get a credit card, it'd be a Chime card.
It would be a Chime card, if I had to pay for this.
But I don't think I know what kind of paint. Do you know what kind of paint I would use?
Me?
Well, since you've turned the question to us, I will just give an honest and earnest. I feel a little bit the rails of this question. I think I understand where we're going with this, but I would just like to advertise the gays who paint, who painted a room in Trixie Mattel's motel. I would just like to give that shout out. Possibly, I think that if I was redoing Pops in the fictional town of Riverdale, I would invite the real life company, the gays who paint.
And that answer is also correct. There was an answer that we were looking for.
What was the paint you would use?
I would just say, and I quote, Benjamin Moore for the win again.
Of course. Yeah.
I just think if you have a trusted partner in Benjamin Moore, you might be able to really keep the soul of Pops alive with their many array of base colors. Need to be matte or satin or semi-gloss.
Yeah.
You can just
Benjamin
really find
Moore, sure
indoor,
to please
outdoor.
the ghosts in your life.
Watching the director's commentary in this episode, Benjamin Moore did visit the set like once every couple episodes and was like, "Do you have anything for us?" It was that old school Hollywood model of knocking on the door and just being like, "I promise you I got something good. Trust me, just give me a chance, coach. Just put me in."
Do you know what I think really hurt that product placement is that you don't have lip flaps saying Benjamin Moore. You hear Tabitha say it, but it's over a shot where we like take in Pops versus the like full insert we get on the Chime card, which is like, oh
here's
my
Chime
God,
card.
Here's my Chime card. And don't worry, you put it on my Chime card. Benjamin Moore, I think that's maybe why, it could slip through the cracks, but you don't see Tabitha say it, but I just wanted to there is a correct answer, and then there's an additional correct answer, and I'm sure there's like 5 more correct answers, but that was one that we were looking
Yeah,
for.
no. I think actually Omar was wrong. Never hire gays who paint. The answer was Benjamin Moore.
That's a good point. Happy Pride.
Happy
during the time of recording.
We're recording this during Pride. There's no greater ally to the gays than Benjamin Moore.
Benjamin Moore has every color in the rainbow.
Benjamin Moore, please sponsor this
I'm
podcast.
gonna do some really quick fact checking on Benjamin Moore.
So smart, so wise.
I'm gonna stand by what I
love
said.
I do understand the ethos of the catchphrase, we have every color of the rainbow, but I do love the idea of it really being like, we've got 7. And that being...
That's it. I do feel like for some reason I can picture a corporate bear paint logo taking on like a pride, like a pride colors.
Obviously, yeah.
But I can't
Probably
picture
down at the eagle.
Yeah, I can't picture.
That's a bear joke. That's a little bear joke.
That's a
for the
little bear
gays
joke.
out
That
there.
was good.
That was good.
Yeah, thanks. Jess, because you seem like you're really knowledgeable about all this stuff, I do need some help regarding more fringe science stuff.
Yeah.
Jess, what if I told you I'd recently acquired the ability to see auras around people who are threats?
Oh, I'd say congratulations, and also heavy as the head.
Ah, damn. That's so true.
Do you know, here's the thing. Threats is such a broad term, right?
Yeah.
Like how with Frank, like it turned out to be true. With her mom, she was being a straight up B. And with Betty herself, I don't know. I can't speak to. I mean, my gut was to root for Betty as like, you know, coming in for this one episode only. But and also, oh my gosh, sorry. That the other part of like the Hollywood, like the actual making of this show that I kept thinking about was the auditions for the guest stars, and just like imagining like our ghost who steps up and speaks and explains like they can't build the train. Azzy, you had their name right?
Yeah, I will. Glinda Snide.
Yeah, Glinda Snide.
And I wrote down Gilda Snide, and I don't know if that's a Berenstein Bear situation or I probably wrote it wrong, but that's what's in my notes.
But that person, I was like, this person was like had to say some really clunky exposition and was just like, I'm a half-burned ghost from the 50s. Yeah. Like, this is great.
Gilda. I have to be fired.
Yeah,
whoa,
sorry.
No, you slipped into our universe.
Listener, Azzy, there seems to be some sort of universal disturbance. It turns out that up till now, we've been getting the Rivervale Azzy as our producer, but don't worry, we got it sorted out.
Oh yeah, I can see the new rectangle. Hi.
Yeah. There it is. There's our Azzy. Half-Burned Ghost is a tough one. I feel like can I quickly ask, and Jess, I know you're an expert in ghosts and ghost appearances.
Thank you.
That is the award you received for the WGA West.
Yeah, expert in ghosts.
So a ghost gets trapped. Is a ghost? Okay, I have a couple questions.
Yeah, please.
And depending on the answers, these might become. I might just get rid of the rest of the questions. So a ghost is a whole person. Like when you become a ghost, you're like the entirety of that person from birth to ghost. Okay, but your appearance is trapped as the moment that you got hurt.
I think it's the moment that your soul knew it was going to leave its mortal coil. So it doesn't have to be like the last second you were technically alive. It's when your soul was like, uh-oh,
I'm checking out.
I'm checking out.
So for some of us Pink Floyd goth fans back in the day, that came early because I kind of was like, wow, life is fleeting. Mortality is a constraint.
So when you take ghost form, you might be like your 14-year-old self.
Wearing all denim and and a Dark Side of the Moon shirt.
Yeah. I think it's like what's your self-image when you die? Like
so it's like the Matrix.
Yes, it's a lot more like the Matrix. So for Gilda, our half-burnt ghost, I assume dying in the fire probably got more burnt than that, or died in the hospital as a result of their wounds.
Right.
But that was the moment that she was like, that's curtains. So
Yeah, that's it.
that's why you only see the beginnings of the burn, almost in like a healed, almost as if the burns had
A little
healed.
healed.
You know, like they're just suggestive of, oh no, the flames have started to lick her face, and she's like, we're out,
And-
folks.
and
Thank you so
Jess,
much.
here's my chime card. Put
That's
it on my
right. Here's
tab.
my chime card. Put it on my tab.
Just since you called it out, I do want to flag those lines. She said,
Thank you.
"We must bear witness to the battle that approaches between good and evil. We must protect this place. It is the final battleground."
Yes. And so, you know, Pops admits off camera, or off screen, you don't see it, that people have died at Pops.
Yeah.
And yet we don't know how many. There's like 4 ghosts. They seem to all be from like the 50s, I think. It doesn't look as if it was like, oh, there was that one accident in the 90s where like a motorcyclist like went through the window. It's sort of like there was maybe a fire. Someone's like flapjacks caught a flame.
Someone's Furby.
Yeah.
We know
exploded.
for a fact Pops has been around since at least 1924.
Whoa. So we could have had some range in ghosts here, but it makes me think that there was maybe these ghosts got to choose. Hey, do you want to move on to the great beyond, or would you rather stand guard of Pops? We need some of you to do it. And some of them are like, for what? And they're like, the final battle. And they're like, well, that sounds like pretty interesting. Can I go to the great beyond after the final battle? And they're like, yeah, totally. You'll just have to hang around. We don't have a timeline on final battle.
Actually, I think I do have to. You can't stay because your name is really difficult to rhyme with.
Yes.
But you two are in.
You're in. You're in.
I love that assessment and I hate to be contrarian, and I don't think this is necessarily contrarian. I just want to offer some more information then let me know if your hypothesis is augmented at all by this or if it stays fully intact and you're married to it.
Great.
If I were to tell you that we have had characters who have gone to the great beyond.
Wait, I think we just had a little earthquake again.
Did we?
We here in the place that we are, I don't want to dox our state, but it rhymes with California.
Yeah, here in the state of California.
Did you all feel the one a few days ago?
I didn't.
No.
Oh, I'm like very close to El Sereno, which is where I think on Sunday morning there was a 3.5 cent epicenter in El Sereno, so I really felt it. So yeah, I think we just had a little like aftershock.
Okay, do you want us to bleep out where you live?
No, it's okay. They can know I live close to El Sereno.
Okay.
But I do want to say, maybe we are talking a lot about ghosts and they were just wanting to say, hey,
Yeah.
I wonder if that was a ghost shake.
Yeah, it might have been a ghost shake.
We've been talking a lot about Pops, but I'm going to be honest with you, Jess and Omar. A haunted diner is the least of my worries.
Yeah?
I want to get back to this good old union struggle that we got going on.
Yes.
We got Archie, a union boy, son of a union man, trying to lead a good, honest construction crew that gets full benefits and overtime pay. And he's trying to compete with Percival Pickens, who's coming in promising big salaries.
Yeah.
Signing bonuses.
Signing bonuses. You can get a car, down payment on a car. Don't worry about the rest of the payments.
So which of these two, let's say, Jess, let's say you've got a baby, maybe a baby Anthony, and
a baby Mary Anthony.
Yeah, and you are a member of the Sweetwater Serpents, and you're sort of toxically masculine, and you haven't been feeling like staying home taking care of the baby while your wife works. You haven't been feeling like you're carrying your weight, and you want to go earn some money for your family because you're in the middle of a custody battle. And which of these two construction crews do you want to join?
Okay. Oh, I don't know why I thought you were going to say them again. Let me think. Well, it's probably really important for me to have reliable health insurance, especially for me and my dependents. And it would be great for me to have protections in case I get hurt on the job, since this is construction.
Yeah.
So I would need to have those protections so that I don't just get fired and kicked off the crew if something happens to me.
Like workers' rights as like an umbrella sort of.
That would be sort of like important to me. And let's see, I probably want to show to the custody, to the judge in our custody battle. that I'm making long-term thoughtful decisions. So I
Oh,
guess
wait, I'm sorry. I missed one key piece of information here. Your name is Fangs.
Oh, my name is Fangs.
Yeah.
Okay, I guess I'll go with the evil mayor with the signing bonus.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Right. That's right.
You know what? Sometimes a serpent can't change their fangs.
It's so
Yeah,
true.
sometimes a serpent can't change their fangs.
Wow.
It's so true. Poor Fangs.
Every other time. It's better to be in the hand of the devil than to be with Archie, I think is kind of the saying, right?
Yeah,
So,
definitely.
He's kind of just like writing that out. Yeah.
I did feel bad in the moment where they're talking to their like lawyer or their counselor. And they're like, and he's doing this, he's doing like these he's doing these shifts at the bar, and then he stays home in the day while I'm working to take care of baby Anthony. That's got to look good, right? And their lawyer's just like, no. And you see in that one moment, like his like opening to maybe becoming a more like three-dimensional actualized man, where it's like, I can stay home with the kid. All that matters is that our family is taken care of. You see the lawyer go like, that's not gonna read, and he's like, I knew it.
Yeah. The judge in town is like, okay, so Fangs, if I may, if we're on a first name basis, Fangs, and Fangs goes, yes, Your Honor.
Yeah.
And then the judge goes, how much of a baller are you? Like, would you say you're like sick as shit?
Because we
what?
need all children in this town to be raised by ballers only.
Yeah.
Right now, your girlfriend's sort of a baller, and that's okay, but we preferred if you were a baller.
Yeah, it's like really, right now you're totally not a baller at all. And even though your girlfriend has like 2 stable jobs as a teacher at the high school and a master's degree in
pretty cool. She kind of balls so hard, but
and she owns and operates a bar.
Wow.
That you work at while you take care. I think right now I'm still leaning towards giving the baby to the single man who also works 2 jobs and can't afford his own rent.
Yeah.
So,
checks out.
Yeah. I mean, that's the legal system. The legal system is so biased against mothers. Dads have it so easy when we're talking custody cases. And at me. Yeah, so that's the whole Fangs and Tony thing. Any more questions about Fangs and Tony?
Well, I have like an overall question, which is like, I remember this happening when I watched teen soaps of like the CW era.
So stuff like Freakazoid, the Mask animated cartoon, stuff like that.
Stuff like that, yeah. I mean, I was a huge like Degrassi fan.
Yes, Ready Free Roscoe, let's go.
I went
Jess
through
McKenna,
a lot.
big Drake fan. Cannon on the pod.
Oh my gosh, a huge Jimmy fan. Let's be honest. Come on, nothing will surprise anyone less, but huge Craig fan, big crush on Craig.
See that?
Saw
I'm
Craig.
I'm nodding like I know anything about this show.
Did you watch Degrassi at all?
I've only seen 2 television shows, Jess.
Okay. Riverdale and
Prodigal Son.
Okay. It came up again.
Hell yeah.
God, I'm gonna really need a Prodigal Son sponsorship for all this.
Simply, Prodigal Son, what are you waiting for? Hand over the dough.
Prodigal Son, we know that there's no more seasons coming out, but don't you want to get people to go watch what you've already made?
Yeah, come on.
Exactly.
It's available.
Craig was very like Seth from the OC coded. Like they both loved Death Cab, and I was like, and I also do, and this is the boy I will kiss. And I saw Craig at like Laurel Hardware, the bar that is Laurel.
Which by the way is not a hardware store. If you're visiting West Hollywood looking for tools, I mean you'll find them there, but
I think it was Laurel Tavern. I think it was the one in the Valley.
If you're looking for hardware and you go to Laurel Tavern, you'll be greatly disappointed.
But I was like, oh my gosh, that's Craig from Degrassi, and I was so excited. And I was just like, started talking to him, and he was very friendly and nice. And then I was like, I was already dating my now husband, and I was just like, well, I am very quickly going to like give off flirty vibes that are just my inherent years of having a crush on this person. But I didn't know how to like. He was like there by himself or like waiting for friends, and then I really felt bad because I did just go like, okay, good night, and like walked away. And he was not being like overly flirty. We were just both being friendly with each other. But I was like, in 4 more sentences, I'm not going to know how to have a boundary here.
Yeah.
Good night, sir.
Can sorry, go ahead, Sarah.
Well, I'm curious how often you run into the other side of that these days.
Oh my gosh! Wow. I don't know. Never.
Really?
Do people come up to you singing and they're just like,
they're
hello?
like, I love you from 5 years ago. Goodbye. That'd be great. If you see me in the radius of El Sereno, you are welcome to do that.
Oh, you have permission now.
You have permission
Say
to say
to me if there's any huge fans of the puppet formerly known as Prince out there, come say hello.
And then please say goodnight and walk away. I don't want to have a longer conversation. It's very, very key that you turn on your heels and walk away.
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't
if
know.
you expose your 1,000 years of longing, it's over for all of us.
Yes, exactly. Oh, okay. So I know what I was going to say and / ask. This, I think, is a very funny trope about soaps, which is that you meet these characters in high school.
Yep.
And then like they finish their high school years as like the seasons go on.
Yep.
And then the like scream towards adulthood is so fast. Like,
yes.
Well, in this show, it happens between episodes in the middle of season 5 where we get a jump cut to 7 years later.
Okay, thank you. Well, that's very valuable. Okay, that makes more sense because I was like, this is so funny because I do feel like this happens where they're like, well, now we want their like storylines and drama to like grow. And so like people are like trying to get married. They work at the FBI. They have like kids. And you're just like, I don't know. A lot of people fuck around in their early 20s and you can show that. Like, they met, like the stakes have to get higher. And you're just like, I don't, no one knows
you
where
want
to
the
go.
show 30-somethings, but instead you got Betty as decidedly a detective at the FBI.
Okay, well, that's great to know. Well, good job, Riverdale. That really makes it make a lot more sense.
They pass over all that. It's literally between episodes. They're high schoolers, and then they come back. Archie's a veteran war hero. Betty's a serial killer hunter at the FBI. Veronica is the she-wolf of Wall Street. Jughead has just published an award-winning novel. Cheryl's still a witch.
We didn't call this out earlier. So Jess, you were I don't want to say lamenting. You were commiserating with the script coordinator on this show. As someone who has worked as a script coordinator, I very much understand that pain. It's a very tough gig. In a previous episode, I don't think it was this one. I think it was the previous one. Reggie said, "Don't you remember what they used to call you on Wall Street? You were the Black Widow of Wall Street." And I think it was 2 episodes ago. And that was a little confusing because I thought that she was the she-wolf of Wall Street.
The she-wolf of Wall Street is what her fans called her, but behind her back, they called her the Black Widow of Wall Street.
That's goddamn Beast Wars logic. That slaps. Like every nickname is more baller than talk about the baller WGA award. That's so sick.
Yeah, our second Beast Wars mention. Hell yeah.
They're just going to grant custody of baby Anthony to Veronica. Just
Oh my gosh.
Can I ask you an important question, Jess?
Yeah.
You got to see a couple times. You got to see Dr. Curdle Jr., the medical examiner in this town.
That was the other audition I was picturing was like someone putting themselves on tape for that part.
We actually have insider info on that because, Jess, I don't want to blow your mind, but our guest last week talking about episode 14 was none other than Nikolai Witchell, who plays Dr. Curdle Jr.
Wow, massive get! Congrats, Pod!
I know.
Thank you. And we found out he did not audition for that part.
Straight offer?
Yeah, he was already working. He was working on Sabrina, which is obviously sister show to Riverdale.
Yeah.
And they just offered him this role and he got to make it his own.
That's the dream. I mean, yes, that performance, I was like, we're doing something here. And it made me, in the world where it was just like this one episode, I was like, you know, way to go. That actor made a choice and probably helped him stand out against like a bunch of other tapes. But yeah, that was...
He is our favorite character.
It's pretty incredible. What's the character's name? Dr. Krumholtz?
Curdle Jr. Dr. Curdle Jr. has been
Oh dear.
recurring minor character since season 3.
Incredible. I'm very happy for him.
Hero of our hearts.
Yeah.
Yes.
If you were tasked with being a coroner and or medical expert at large in Riverdale, and you wanted to come in hot and heavy with a big character choice, can you give us a little Costco sample of what you might try? Like, just sort of
Dr. McKenna Jr.
to stand out.
Sure.
Or Dr. Jess McKenna.
Thank you so much. Hello, Betty. Can you tell us which are the... That's me snapping each finger of my glove.
Okay.
Specimens are ready first.
10 out of 10.
10 out of 10. Oh my God.
You.
Nikolai, obviously, you're the king of our hearts, but should you perish in battle, Jess McKenna is ready to pick up your shield.
It would be an honor. I think the physicality would really have to play in. So I'm sorry. I know this is not a visual medium.
It's an audio format.
It's an audio format. So just imagine that glove really going on finger by finger.
Yeah.
Yeah, we here prescribe to the Neil Gaiman sort of mentality of the outer ear is not superior to the inner ear. Both are equally as important. So I think you describing it and then our listeners filling that in with their imagination was, I think, a good gift that you gave to them. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
Yeah, and on that note, let's say you were the Jess McKenna, medical examiner of a small town in upstate New York. If I brought you my twin niece and nephew, would you run genetic testing on them for me?
Yeah, no problem. I have like an hour free on Thursday. Let me just I'll go ahead and run like a standard blood panel on their genes to see if they have the serial killer gene.
The serial killer gene, the MAOA gene.
Yeah, no worries. Happy to do that. Because honestly, we need more data on this gene, how often it occurs, how we need to be studying how often it guarantees you become a serial killer versus just like, hey, watch them, make sure that they're not isolating. Make sure they don't say, don't go down there, maybe don't just keep your eye on them.
And especially how detectable it is by superpowers.
Yeah.
For sure.
Huge.
For sure. Yeah. Speaking of detectability, I want to talk about our favorite lesbian witches who do such a bad job of hiding that they're witches, don't they? When you come in hot and you say, I too am a student of the arcane arts, followed by I started worshiping the goddess Hecate. It helped me self-actualize. Have you ever worshipped the goddess Hecate to self-actualize? Or Hecate or Hecate?
Boy, I don't think so. Maybe Dionysus.
Get drunk.
Party time.
Turning pirates into dolphins.
Let's go. I can't say I have, but I'm always looking for new ways to better myself, and so I was happy to know of one more. To add to the list.
Did you have anyone in middle school who was like a forbidden crush that your parents wouldn't let you hang out with, who then you met as an adult and invited her to start a library in your ancestral estate?
I don't think so. My mom really liked my middle school boyfriend. She thought he was very polite.
Nice.
Oh, that's good. Polite's important for a middle school boyfriend, I think.
Boyfriend, early bloomer. Some of us didn't have our first kiss till we were 18 and had already graduated high school.
Wow. Okay. Bragging about graduating high school. Thank you very much.
Yeah, that was a brag.
I gotta say this about Heather. When Heather popped up, my roommate was crossing by, and I was just like, I don't know, man. I just think Cheryl needs a lot more like a big dramatic character to be the love interest. And my roommate span her in, and they were like, hey, no. Let Cheryl have this. Cheryl needs this. And it really did change my viewpoint on this relationship. Cheryl has gone through a lot.
And sorry, which one is Cheryl?
The redhead.
Glasses, no glasses?
No glasses.
No glasses is Cheryl. She's a Riverdale regular, and the other one is visiting from Greendale.
Correct.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, and she was giving me Velma vibes.
Yes.
Heather was.
Heather, just in
Yeah,
look. Like I was
from
like, is
Greendale.
this a crossover? I don't know. Okay, yeah. And Heather's full witch. That was not exciting enough for you, Omar?
Oh no, I
Just
lived
wanted-
in West Hollywood. That's pretty par for the course.
I mean, honestly, I understand where you're coming from here, Jess, because to you, which sounds exciting, this was probably the most mellow Cheryl's ever been in her entire life.
Gotcha.
Yeah, she
Cheryl-
just had been possessed by the spirit of Abigail Blossom for a couple episodes.
Abigail Blossom is
makes
her
jams.
a 140-year-old witch ancestor of hers.
Yeah, who
Who
makes
her-
jams?
She doesn't.
No,
Is this a reference to like a?
No,
don't know,
she just feels like she makes jams. Abigail Blossom.
Okay, I thought it was like a nursery rhyme or sort of like a short
I thought it was a
story.
reference as
No.
well.
I was just like,
I
just
would've-
where my gut was going. Yeah, it was
Yeah,
like,
she
100%
probably
would have
does
followed
make-
you as if
she-
that's like I would have been like, yes, oh my god, that's so funny. I
100%.
bring that up all the time.
She
Like I
makes
reference that all the
jams.
time.
She does
I'm so
make
sorry.
jams.
Jellies, marmalades. She just
Yeah,
seems like
marmalade,
she's
yes.
she seems like she's into canning.
Yeah, so like Cheryl Blossom, like only a couple episodes ago, 4 or 5 maybe, was being burned at the stake by Archie, Betty, and Jughead to cleanse her of this witch ghost that was possessing her.
And awaken her
Okay.
pyrokinesis.
So like she's used to high drama, you know what I mean?
So yeah,
Jess,
this is good for her. Yeah.
We owe you a huge apology for what we did just a couple seconds ago, because the Blossom Estate is built on the empire of Riverdale's only export, which is maple syrup, which is essentially
so
a refinement
true.
of a natural resource.
It's tree jam.
When we joked and when we traded barbs about jams, preserves, marmalades, that was unfair of us.
Yeah,
It
thank you.
was.
There's
I
30
appreciate that.
ire.
I appreciate that.
30-minute argument between jams and jellies that I cut out.
Yeah.
And this is reason 75 why jam is better than jelly.
Both of the, forgive me, both Heather and Cheryl
Mhm.
go to Pops to talk to Glinda, right?
Yes, Gilda,
Okay.
yes.
That was
Yeah,
my
Gilda.
favorite line of the episode was Tabitha, I think, says, "This is all starting to make sense."
Mhm.
Yes.
And Cheryl says, "Is it?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was great because that felt like how I felt. And that's
Yeah.
always nice in media. When
This is the first time Cheryl's the one who's a little behind the ball when it comes to the arcane.
Yeah.
Because, like, Cheryl, even though she's not a full witch, even though she's just been sort of dancing around using that word for herself,
Mhm.
she is the most witchy of all the Riverdale crew. So Heather coming in and, like, outwitching her, she's in an unusual position that I think she likes.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, sometimes it's like a lot of work to be the big witch, you know?
Yeah, I know. I lived in West Hollywood. Does anyone have any fun jukebox stories? I'm mostly asking this question so that I can serve up my ability to share a jukebox story.
I think
Oh.
I think go off, you know?
Yeah, let's see. I don't have any fun jukebox stories. How about you, Azzy? Do you have any fun jukebox
I've-
stories?
I have like the only time I think I've ever used a jukebox where there are these really tiny jukeboxes on this like novelty diner that my family would go
that's-
to when I was
Is it
little.
a real jukebox or is it an MP3 player shaped like a jukebox?
It was a real jukebox.
No.
Like you had to
Oh,
put
nice.
coins
You
in
you,
and
you
stuff.
flip through it, right? Like it flips the songs and you can choose a song.
Yeah.
Oh, Omar, you sound like you have some personal experience with this.
Well, talking about the flipping through jukeboxes, one time I went to a bar for a friend's birthday and there's an electronic jukebox, and I thought it would be funny to put on the Tron Legacy soundtrack, but specifically the song where Jeff Bridges talks at the start. He goes, "I wondered what computers were like." And then a few people turned around and went, "Is this the Tron Legacy soundtrack?" And I went, "Yeah." And then I thought it was so funny that I put it on repeat for a couple more times. And that really took the air out of the room and people did not enjoy it at that point.
They
I
don't
w-
like Daft Punk? That's
I do
fucked
like
up.
Daft Punk. I think it was the Jeff Bridges talking bit, and then the fact that it was on 17 times after that probably
Sure.
put them off.
You know, this may be years after this bit has happened, Omar, but I just want to say hats off to you. I would have loved that bit.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I think they're wrong. Unless it needed 18 times, you know, sometimes those things,
Oh yeah, the rule of
You have to
you
33.
just got to ride that wave, you know?
Yeah.
Diminishing
Yeah.
returns.
getting back to the episode, I have another question for you, Jess.
Mm-hmm.
Since you can read minds, you can't erase them as well, can you?
What? I don't know. Well, I suppose if I could get in there, I might be able to try something called like clipping or something.
Yeah, sure.
Let me do a little bit of
telepathic erasure, maybe.
Yeah, maybe. Let me do a little bit of research. It's sort of similar to how my brain creates story through panels of a comic. Might be able to zero in on just that one frame and lift it from his brain. We'll need a way for him to meditate. So can you make his payment in some smaller bills? And we know he has dyslexia. It's important for him to focus while he counts.
That is such a great idea, Jess.
But let me do some research. Let me write some things in a journal. Carry the one. Yes. Okay. And
and listener, we did cut this down to make sure that the episode could fit into our time constraints.
Jess just pulled out a book called Meditations on Mind Reading and started reading aloud.
I'm sorry, I did clip a memory from each of you, but don't worry, it's a totally banal one. Like it was taking up a little bit of space. It's that thing where when you open the fridge door and you're like, wait, what did I want? I took one of those instances out. So
it's gonna be like an itch I can't scratch.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
There was one time for each of you between the ages of 14 and 25 where you went to a fridge, forgot what you wanted, and then closed the fridge only to return a few moments later. You now don't have that memory at all. So it's like one fewer time that you went to the fridge.
I don't think I'm searching through the short and long box of my mind, Jess, and I can't seem to find that moment. I don't think it happened to me.
It's because I took it. Yeah. So you only had one, Omar, which is why, because people who normally go to the fridge like a lot, like, it's like, oh, why did I walk in this room? Why did I pick up my phone? What do I want in the fridge? Oh, a seltzer. It's always a seltzer. So yeah, you actually only had one, Omar. Really unique.
I bullet journal, so my processes are pretty streamlined.
That makes sense.
I rarely linger in front of the refrigerator.
Well, speaking of...
Be a great script coordinator.
Yeah, you're really good at that. But speaking of refrigerators, Jess, how's living with the boyfriend?
Oh, it's just like because I couldn't be in that house anymore. But if I'm being honest, like it does give me a sense of home. I think it's going well. It's just that I have this fear that someone close to me might be trying to hurt other people I'm close to. Like, what would you say if I knew there was someone else in my life whose aura was setting off alarm bells? I'm just worried that they're so close to Archie and he's done so much for me.
Yeah, what I'd say, if that's the case, I'd say that person, like, I don't know, has she ever tried, like, kissing a girl? Like, maybe that's what she needs to do about it. Like, like not to be...
No, I mean, I'm talking about Frank, his uncle. That's the person close in his life with the bad aura. Not me. Not me.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I misread the situation because we're recording this during Pride Month.
It has Frank Edwards tried kissing a girl about it.
Frank Edwards has been kissing Alice Cooper. Unfortunately, everyone's least favorite romance in the show.
In this universe, did his family get taken out while he was a mercenary, or was that just in the Pocket universe?
What?
In this universe.
I don't know. He only reveals that he was a mercenary with a secret wife and daughter he hid even from Archie and Frank in Riverdale. But I don't know if that means it's not... It might still be true in Riverdale.
I mean, that gets to the very core of what is true,
Okay. This is all starting to make sense.
Is it?
Yeah. As we approach the end... we do a pretty conventional conversation with ghosts at the end of this episode, which I really appreciate.
Sick.
But sometimes in previous, like earlier seasons, we would have had the Riverdale Vixens, the Riverdale High Vixens, do like a song and dance number to kind of maybe make peace with the ghosts, or maybe to like exorcise them, exorcise.
Yes.
Jess, if you were to pick a song that maybe like the electronic jukebox would kind of kick up and then you could do a cover of to make the ghosts come to peace with moving and getting this ghost train back on tracks, what song do you think it would be?
And don't worry, it won't electrocute you.
Oh, okay, great. Probably know I'm gonna be, because they need to be able to move Pops up to 500 miles.
That's great. That's great.
That's great. That's so true.
Just a real fun, like sexy cover.
Yeah, when you wake up, then you know you're gonna be. Pops will be the diner that no longer exists, but it will still if we move it bit by bit and we reassemble it by every brick. Cause it could be 500 miles and it would
we just got
still
sued.
be.
Shit.
That's it.
We
Is that
just
more
got-
than 15 seconds?
we just
Sorry.
got
Speed
sued.
it up.
Oh,
Speed it up.
fuck.
Speed it up.
I think we can argue the case of we're ballers in court.
I think
Yeah, yeah.
the judge will be on our
No
side.
worries on that. Yeah.
Yeah, I only have one thing to say to that, Omar.
Mhm.
Concur. Omar, I did have something I've been meaning to say to you, actually.
Okay.
And honestly, despite everything I did as a co-host,
Mhm.
you've always been a bad person, Omar. I hope you'll never be a co-host so you don't have to experience the things you've made me endure. And listener, this is audio only, but what you can't see is I'm currently glowing red.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Whoa.
I can't tell though what harm you're trying to do to me aside from these emotionally abusive words that you're saying. Given what I'm going through as a possibly expectant mother, moving in with my boyfriend because you helped my father, your husband, kill a sheriff in the past, put his body underneath the place where we had apple pie. I can't quite place where the harm's coming from.
I don't know. Based on everything I've seen here, Omar, I suspect you may be a witch as well.
It is getting close to the witching hour, and I am worried that I have to catch that midnight bus back to Greendale.
Yeah.
Dangerous time to catch a bus.
Very dangerous time.
There might be witches on the bus.
There might be witches on the bus. Okay, we're getting close to the end of the episode here. Long story short, Frank comes back. Frank's like, I had a change of heart. You gave me an emotional tether. I remembered my bond with my good brother, Frank Andrews. We're both good old Union men. I'll help you move Pops. But wait a second. He was going to drive it into the Sweetwater River or into a landfill.
Or a bonfire.
Or a bonfire. Whoa. Oh, no. Wait. No, what's that? Frank has palladium? Never mind. It's okay. Because Archie's invulnerable again.
Jess, can you remind us how Archie got his groove back and is now immune to palladium?
Oh, of course. So he just needed to. He went on like a little hike, and he took some time alone.
Not too far off.
And he went back to the cave of impenetrability.
There is a cave. There is a cave. That's correct.
And he was able to answer the 3 internal riddles to regain the power source at the center of
I love that.
Riverdale.
Yeah,
Well,
you don't have to.
actually,
You don't have to give us all 3, but can you hit us with one of those riddles?
Yeah, of
Yeah,
course.
please.
What's tall and strong and red in parts?
Oh, Archie.
You, Archie.
Yeah, it's Archie. Jess, you're famous worldwide for your narrative prowess, your
Thank
quick
you.
narrative abilities.
Mhm.
I want to walk you through. I'm going to see if we can Socratic method how Archie gets his groove back.
Great.
Do you know what Archie's weakness is?
He can't love.
Close. It's the metal palladium.
Oh, sure.
So, like, if his weakness is the metal palladium, what sort of like esoteric arts might you look to handle the metal here?
Okay, so probably like metallurgy or potions or something.
Yeah, that sounds fine. What if I told you that like palladium is just the same thing as white gold? Would
Okay.
that specify what you're looking into?
I would. Yeah, I guess I would like. He needs like an opposing like gem or natural occurring substance.
Interesting.
Okay, what if I reminded you that even though the alchemists never figured out a way to turn iron into gold, they did actually figure out a way to turn gold into iron?
So it's his will. It's just about his iron will.
That's a good guess.
That's a pretty good guess. It's actually that he has to utter an ancient alchemical incantation while Cheryl uses her pyrokinetic powers to burn him alive and thus forge him from
Forge him.
palladium
He
to iron.
needs to be forged.
He
Yes.
needs to
Yeah.
be forged. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
In a cave.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Correct.
Oh man, Archie. I love Archie. And hey, it still pops. We might be inside of a boxing gym now. And sure, we didn't move the building brick by brick, but we did move the furniture.
Yep.
Yeah.
Pops isn't a place, it's a people. That's what I've been
And-
saying since day one.
With the help of Benjamin Moore, I can't tell the difference.
Oh man. And just last question of the episode. Jess, if you're in a custody battle, do you think that's like a good reason to get married?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Okay, good. Glad we got
Hell
that
yeah.
sorted out. Jess,
Yeah,
Thank
my
you s-
note for that was sexy dinner bamboozle. A sexy dinner proposal.
Mhm.
yes, and that is the whole summary of this episode. Jess, were there any other parts of the episode that you wanted to talk about that we haven't gotten to?
Oh my gosh, I think that's everything. I mean, I did have to adjust to the shade of Archie's hair.
For sure.
Yeah.
That's come up
Um,
before.
And also, I was like, I'm so disconnected. I know this show is popular, but because I've never watched it, like none of these people mean anything to me, you know.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
and then
It's
like
really harsh.
I just mean like I don't know their names, you know, like they are not famous to me.
Sure.
And it was a real marker of like how nicheified we continue to be in media, because I was like, oh my gosh, they all have like millions and millions of followers. Like they are hugely famous to people. But then I was like, did my mom know who Jessica Biel was? You know, and so I was like, should I bemoan the loss of monoculture, or is this just always how like these types of soaps exist, where they're hugely resonant for the people who watch them, and
right.
their reach is their reach, but they aren't necessarily translating to like capital F fame for everybody else.
That's a great question. That I mean, you have Charles Melton, who's sort of transcended Riverdale to win an Academy Award, even.
God.
And you have
But I only knew him when he did something else, you know, and they were like, he's from Riverdale, can you believe it? And I was like, sure, I can. He's good in this movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
I have
don't
no
know, it's-
Riverdale bias against him, you know? People are like, oh, will the Riverdale kids be able to like pop to other things? I'm like, they will to me. I carry no.
Probably.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
care. They're very
Yeah.
hot.
People have a lot of bias against Riverdale. And having now seen an episode of Riverdale, do you think their bias is warranted?
Yes. I'm glad
Okay.
I saw I'm glad I saw May December before I saw this, so that I
I
could enjoy that
see.
performance without spending
Yeah.
30 minutes getting used to seeing him do something different. Here's what I'll say. Nobody in this show, for better or worse, shows that they can act, because nobody in this show has to do more than 2 lines at a time. So
I see.
so actually in one way they are completely they are still unknowns. I don't
Yes.
know if they're good or bad. I would not assume that they're bad, but I can't tell if they're good, because all they have to just do is like, yeah, I can get a crew together, that'd be no problem. End
Yeah.
of scene. They don't have to
So it's
sustain
kind of like-
anything. They don't have to like live in
Yeah.
I don't even think they have to do much blocking. Like, I don't even know if they know many like technical abilities about like hitting one's mark. I don't know if they're easy to be on set with. They probably get to show up, do 4 lines, go to lunch, and go home. You know, so I think that any of them could be amazing, and that's actually
Yeah.
great. They still,
That's beautiful.
yeah, they all preserve possibility.
I think that's fantastic. But we do have a series of awards we're going to ask you to give out
Okay.
here, Jess. And for the first one, was there anyone who stood out? And this award is named after guest number 1, Oscar Montoya, episode 1. And he created the Sin Pie Award. Which character, inanimate object, animal, concept, or haunted muscle car stole the scene? Which one of them ate their slice of the sin pie and left no crumbs?
I mean, I want to say, you know, I think I gotta give it to Glinda.
Gilda Snide.
Gilda. I gotta give it to her because she really moved those blocks.
Yeah.
And she
Yeah.
really said those lines.
Yeah.
And so no crumbs. She ate.
You know, when I saw Gilda pop up on screen, I had a feeling that she would be popular. Sorry, everyone.
I would love to know that ghosts don't talk the way that she does. When it's like, who speaks on behalf of the ghost? I will be. It shall be. It shall be die. Who speaks? And the ghosts are like, why? Why do you always do that?
Are
Like
the
you
other
always
ghosts-
pretend you're in Lord of the Rings.
Are the other? It feels like the other ghosts were all teens who were like they're sharing
Yeah.
milkshakes the night of this fire, and she's like,
Mhm.
"Kids, I got this," and they're like, "We're eternal. Like time doesn't mean anything anymore." And she's like, "Kids, the grown-ups are talking."
The half-burnt grown-ups are talking.
Yep.
Mhm.
Now, in terms of sort of like authority figures or people with more experience, we do have a second award we'd love for you to give out.
Sure.
This is the Ross Bryant Notice Me Senpai Award.
Okay.
This goes to the character you would want to be noticed by.
Oh,
Who in this episode did you, Jess, most want to be noticed by?
not Betty. I don't want to have a flaming aura. I don't want to have an aura that's like, whoa, look out. Okay. I'd like to be noticed by Jughead. I want him to think my mind is worth reading.
Aww.
That's
You-
very sweet.
Yeah.
Jess, our next award, 3 of 5 now.
Okay.
This is the Dan
That's right.
This is the Dan Lippert Award for Can You Make a Prediction for What Happens Going Forward in the Show?
Okay. Yeah. I think there will be a arcane / magical betrayal between Heather and Cheryl.
Whoa. No. A witch
Not
off.
Not the lesbian witches.
Sorry. I think that there's going to be something where power makes them turn away from the sparks that they have
Oh my
in order
God.
to like embrace their full witchery.
Okay.
They'll fight over like a slowed down Chapel Rowan song.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It'll be like, sorry, only one of us can wield the orb, and I just think that I'm the
Yeah.
better one for the job.
Only one of us can attain the full strength of the Phoenix powers necessary to divert the meteor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But
That's
we'll
a great
always
idea.
have last night.
Yeah.
That's a great prediction. We have another award for you to hand out if that's all right with you.
Please.
This is the Britannia Award, and this award goes to not an actor, not a creature, not an inanimate object, but a moment.
Mhm.
And this award goes to the moment that most made you stop what you were doing and go, "What? Hold on, what?"
For me, it had to be the dedicated insert shot of the chime card.
For sure. For sure.
It just was
Here's my
not.
chime card.
I was not prepared for how dedicated
Yes.
that product placement would be. And it really set me off on an extra level of mouth agape.
Mm-hmm. That's
And-
beautiful.
Our last award, and Jess, you're actually the first person to actually grant this award
Thrilling.
because it was created last episode by Nikolai Witchell.
Mhm.
And this, a little preface here, Jess. Nikolai thinks that a lot of people don't understand Riverdale because what they don't get is that it is a comedy, and that the joke at the heart of the show is how seriously the show takes everything. And
Sick.
so Nikolai created the Dr. Curdle Jr. Award for the line delivered most seriously.
Okay.
And because you might not remember specific lines, you can also just key in on a moment or a character who you think like inhabited the energy of Dr. Curdle Jr.
Okay. I think I'm being drawn to that truly heinous tirade from Betty's mom.
Mm.
It was so mean, and
It was. It was awful.
it was so awful that I think one would have to think, oh, this is a fun piece of camp. Like one has to think that's camp, like,
Mhm.
Yeah.
so yeah, if you could help me out, Sarah, if there's like, you've already quoted it
For
in the
sure.
app.
despite everything I did as a mother, you've always been a bad person. I
Yeah, I
hope
think
you'll
that-
never be a mother, so
Yeah.
you don't have to experience the things you've made me endure.
Despite everything I've done, you've always been a bad person.
Oh, when you said that,
So-
it was a reference to the episode?
Oh no, those were my true feelings towards you, Omar,
Okay.
but it just happened to reflect what Alice Cooper
Just
said.
note for note. Yeah, I get that a lot, actually.
Sometimes things
yeah.
seep in, you know.
Yeah.
Actually,
You
I'm
have
gonna
always-
I'm gonna erasure this memory from all of you.
What memory, Jess?
Sorry, I think I just have to go soon.
Mhm.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
Yeah.
Before
Sorry.
you do, we have one last award for you to give out. This
Great.
is called the Dr. Curdle Jr. Award.
Oh, you know, I think we should skip that one because I feel
Okay.
like, that should be more like an honorary, like it should only be given if it like comes up, you know.
And
Oh, okay.
Jess,
I guess it didn't.
Jess,
Yeah, I guess it didn't come up in this one.
we want to thank you for coming up onto our silly little pod and talking Riverdale with us. It's been an honor to have you here.
Thank you for
You're so
having me.
wonderful.
Thank you for giving me this television, one of the great comedies of our time.
Jess, if other people want to see some of the best comedy of our time, where can they find you?
Oh, that's very kind. Off Book Podcast. We don't do in studio eps anymore, but we have been touring a lot, and so we've been putting live episodes out, which have all been very fun. So check that out.
Amazing.
Heck yeah.
And Azzy, where can people find you?
People can find me on Instagram at I need Azrael, Azrael. You can go follow the podcast at Riverdale 6 Pod, and we'll have links there to go see everything else that we're doing.
Yes.
You can find me on Instagram at Sarah Rose Kaplan, Sarah No H Rose like the flower Kaplan with a C, and I'll mostly be promoting improv and things like that. But every now and again, I might be promoting a little bit of Wikipedia D&D on the Effin' Funny Network with my friend Omar.
That's right. And I'm Omar. You can find me at Omar Najam on Omar Najam Film on Instagram and over on F and Funny doing some episodes of ABCD, mostly on Sundays. Maybe some Wikipedia D&D, maybe a little show that I'll be hosting with another person where it's 2 GMs, 2 players, but only 2 people, so we're both being the GM and the player at the same time. And I also just want to say, Jess, I am a huge fan of yours. It is such a pleasure to
thanks.
get to chat with you. You're such an inspiration in the comedy scene. You are a creative tour de force, and also the peak of professionalism, considering you went through a natural disaster during the recording of this episode and you didn't miss a beat. You didn't duck under any tables. You said, I'm here for the mic and only the mic. And really, thank you for that.
Thank you. That's very kind. And I have to say, dear listener, that's not proper earthquake etiquette. Create a spot where if something falls, it creates a T. I grew up in California, so I sit through them a lot. I go, this one's not real. But make sure you have your earthquake kits ready. But thank you so much, Omar. That's very kind.
Of
So
course. The
true.
big one's coming, folks. And by that, we mean another episode of Riverdale Season 6.
Oh my God, that's so true. And next week, we're joined by our good friend, Laser Weber of the Double Clicks and Laser the Boy and many other things. And you'll just have to tune in next week to listen to that one. And in the meantime, listener, of course, I just have one final thing to say to you.